We've already seen that the Redmi Note 6 Pro is quite a capable camera phone, but how does it stack up against the model it replaces? This is Sandeep from RevAtlas, and here's the camera comparison between the Redmi Note 6 Pro and Note 5 Pro. On paper, it seems like a clear lead for the Note 6 Pro. The Note 5 Pro had a 12MP f2.2 1.25 micron primary sensor, as well as a secondary 5MP f2 1.12 micron depth sensor. The Note 6 Pro retains the same 5MP depth sensor, but opts for a 12MP primary sensor with larger f1.9 aperture and larger pixel size of 1.4 micron. Hardware is one thing, but software is another, and it remains to be seen if the software can take enough advantage of the new hardware on the Note 6 Pro. At a glance, it's not easy to tell apart nor rank one image higher than the other, but the differences are quite evident when you pixel peep. The Note 6 Pro carries much more detail and sharpness in the images despite having the same resolution. This is the larger pixel size coming into play. Note 6 Pro focus is also much faster and more accurate, especially if you're looking to shoot things up close. Colors are very well rendered on both, and there's only a slight difference between two if you have AI mode enabled, which increases saturation and plays with the hues. We've spoken at length regarding the AI mode in our camera review, so do check that out. The Note 6 Pro in some cases has a tendency to have a yellowish color tone, while Note 5 Pro has a tendency to become purplish in low light especially. Dynamic range is also pretty similar on both, but is better on the Note 6 Pro, which gives you better information from the shadows. HDR mode helps improve dynamic range on both, but the Note 5 Pro has a problem of actually underexposing the shot during HDR at times, which has been rectified on the Note 6 Pro. 6 Pro shots also have some clarity added, which enhances the feeling of depth and also apparent sharpness. In terms of low light performance, both the phones are quite similar here too, but the Note 6 Pro has an advantage in terms of hardware and performs better. Noise levels aren't much lower too on the Note 6 Pro, but the fine detail result is much better and also prevents light sources from blowing out too much. Lastly, the Note 5 Pro also gets a white balance wrong at times and produces a purplish color cast, which isn't there on the 6 Pro. We had posted these two shots on social media and asked everyone to choose their favorite. Phone A on the left was Note 6 Pro and phone B on the right was Note 5 Pro. Across Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, majority chose the Note 6 Pro. At a glance, they seem practically identical, and rightly so, but few small differences can be observed. Note 6 Pro creates a brighter frame as the region in the shadows are more visible, while it's a bit darker on the Note 5 Pro. The bokeh is rendered differently on both as well. The Note 6 Pro is smooth and creamy, while it's more speckled and has bokeh balls on the Note 5 Pro. Take these two shots next and you'll see that the Note 6 Pro photos have more detail and sharpness, but it also seems to have the yellowish color cast that we mentioned earlier, while the white balance is spot on with the Note 5 Pro. Edge detection, however, is not as refined on the Note 5 Pro, especially around the ears. You can notice the same characteristics on these shots as well. The front camera on the Note 5 Pro is a 20MP unit with f2.2 aperture and 1 micron pixel size. The Note 6 Pro gets a 20MP unit with f2 aperture and 0.9 micron pixel size, as well as a secondary 2MP depth sensor. The front-facing camera on the Note 5 Pro actually has better sharpness and detail owing to a larger pixel size. Dynamic range is about the same, but the HDR mode actually helps the Note 6 Pro to get more detailed and sharper photos, which are at times better than the Note 5 Pro. In terms of low light performance, the brighter lens on the Note 6 Pro does help to have a better exposed frame and a faster shutter speed. As you can see, the photo from Note 5 Pro here has gotten blurred since it chose a slow shutter speed. We also posted these samples where the phone A was Note 5 Pro and phone B was Note 6 Pro. People on Facebook found Note 6 Pro to be better, but Instagram and Twitter liked Note 5 Pro more. The difference in this case was very marginal, and in most instances it was a near tie. But what seems to have put most people off is the yellowish tinge on the Note 6 Pro photo, which is something that you find on rear camera photos too at times, especially in portrait mode. Apart from that, the Note 6 Pro does better in terms of detail, as well as has more natural looking blur and better edge detection thanks to that 2MP depth sensor. It's not a world of a difference, but the difference is still tangible. Video recording maxes out at 1080p 30fps on the Note 6 Pro, but the Note 5 Pro has a 1080p 60fps mode that will receive later via firmware update. Considering that the processing hardware is identical on both, the Note 6 Pro is also capable of supporting 1080p 60fps, and hopefully we'll get an update too in the near future. 4K 30fps is not available on either, and chances seem very slim that it'll come. There's EIS on board for 30fps videos, and videos are very stable, almost gimbal-like. 1080p 60fps videos on Note 5 Pro doesn't have EIS. But apart from the resolution and bitrate, there seems to be a big difference in the videos outputted due to a few reasons. Firstly, the new dual pixel PDF has largely overcome, if not completely removed, the focus hunting issue that was present on the Note 5 Pro and some older Xiaomi devices in terms of video. Secondly, the dynamic range on Note 6 Pro is better in the video and is quicker to adjust the exposure accordingly as well. Front-facing camera can record 1080p 30fps videos too, and like the rear camera, it has good colors and is fairly detailed. But here there's no stabilization, and that leads to videos that don't look as refined. The experience remains largely similar on both here too, but the audio is slightly better on the Note 6 Pro.
Hey guys, this is Sandeep from RevAtlas, and this is the front-facing camera on the Redmi Note 6 Pro, capturing 1080p 30fps videos. Let me know what you guys think about the overall sharpness, the dynamic range, the how well it's picking my voice in this particular scenario as well, and the stabilization. Hey guys, this is Sandeep from RevAtlas, and this is the front-facing camera on the Redmi Note 5 Pro capturing 1080p video. Let me know what you guys think about the overall sharpness, the video quality, the dynamic range, and how well it's picking my voice in this environment as well.
Yes, the Note 6 Pro is a definite step ahead in terms of the photography and videography experience that it offers compared to the Note 5 Pro. You get faster focus, better low-light performance, AI scene detection, better dynamic range, and a better portrait mode. Some of the software effects also that we talked about in our camera review are also worth mentioning, and we are not sure whether it'll exactly make its way onto the Note 5 Pro. However, if you're already a Note 5 Pro user, it depends on how much emphasis you put on a smartphone photography that'll decide whether or not to make the upgrade. For most users, the Note 5 Pro might be sufficient camera-wise, and perhaps other changes the Note 6 Pro brings will be the deciding factor. Thanks for watching this video. See you again in the next one.